Hello everyone. This video is going to be about my current version of bulk theory and everything that I've learned so far doing these videos. So I just recently I've been watching through and if I looked at the first video I made in this series, right? And I had like 15,000 in sales and my eBay account had just gotten 1,000 reviews. I have triple that amount in sales now and 50% more reviews in that 3-month period since that. That's so exciting, you know, because I kind of lose track of all of this, and I sometimes feel like I'm not going anywhere and that I haven't grown or developed, you know, and that it's kind of alarming because, like, I've never been in a position in my life where I am learning so much on such a regular basis. It's incredible. My life changes every, like, 2 weeks. There's something new that I have to incorporate into my lifestyle, and I manage to, and then there's a new obstacle, you know? Like, it's so interesting. It may not be easy, but it is definitely exciting and interesting. So with bulk, let's look at some numbers and some concepts that I've talked about, okay? The first thing is using Walmart exclusively as a source. This is something I'm going to do until I have issues with. And it is possible that once my sales increase more, or even as they are now, that Walmart will eventually start canceling my sales. So there are ways to work around this, and that's something that I don't know how to do exactly, but I know it's possible. It is possible to use Walmart as a source exclusively, as long as you have systems in place that you know what to handle when they start canceling orders, and that involves multiple accounts and like stealth methods and all sorts of stuff, okay? So I'm going to accept that I am going to use Walmart exclusively because of its shipping time and its refunding and return policy. Walmart is so big that they're able to offer a really, really good return policy. It's super easy. You don't have to call anyone. You just use labels. It's fantastic. Okay, and they also sell a lot of products, and you can get a sense of the amount of products they sell when you do like some simple searches. Like, let's say you really like selling like baby stuff, right? So we're gonna search for baby and then just click on see all baby, right? So they have about 181,000 things in this category. That's not entirely true, obviously. It doesn't include every baby item, but it's the easiest way to get a list of Walmart's baby-related items, right? So we can tweak this, and we're going to make that number way, way, way smaller. We're going to change the retailer to only Walmart.com because we do not want to use a marketplace seller because you don't get the benefits of the quick shipping time and the return policy, right? So we just limited that number by a bunch, right? But that's still 40,000 items. That's a lot to work with, you know what I mean? And that's it with just this one search. And like, I think I could manage a bulk format store with up to 200,000 items personally alone. There would be some days that I'd work a lot, but on most days, the thing that it boils down to is that you have to, like with bulk, you just post a bunch of items, right? And then you're not trying to make money at first, because what you're trying to do is really develop your understanding of what makes a good bulk listing. Because it's different than what makes a good optimized listing. A good bulk listing doesn't produce questions. It is certain what the item is. It isn't prone to problems with repricing or going out of stock. So you can't really use variations, or at least it's much harder to. And honestly, with bulk, why bother? If you find a bad item, you could just replace it in a good item. And it's like seconds, milliseconds per item. Be picky, you know? I'm not limited by the amount of items I can post, right? I mean, I am in a sense, but I would have to become like a front that sells every one of Walmart's items as one entity. I don't think that's really going to be something that happens, you know what I mean? So I've now gotten to a point where I started this bulk stuff like in January, right? So I've gotten a pretty good sense of how to make a better list of items, right? That doesn't produce too much problems with questions and that kind of stuff. So when I started doing bulk, I didn't even have this concept of master lists of links, right? But at some point, I really want to reiterate. I don't even know if I will reiterate, but just start off by working with lists of items that I know are good for the bulk methodology, right? just like this, right? This is a list of like 15,000 unique items that have already been optimized for bulk. And so you just think about it, like if you wanted to, like you could start off on Walmart, right? And you could literally any one of these filters that you see here, you could make a list of tens of thousands of items that only have that filter. So ideally, really, everything should be 2-day shipping, right? Because then it's going to be, the sale's going to happen quickly. And if it is a return, they're going to have their money back within like 5 days. They're going to have it really quick, right? And you're going to get your money back pretty quick as well, like within like 2 or 3 weeks instead of a month and a half or something like that, right? It speeds everything in the business up. It makes the kind of cycles and loops smaller. It's really in your benefit. And so really you could make a bulk store that only had these items. I didn't do that when I've like half of my items have been posted just raw, right? I just would search baby and then everything, right? I eventually started limiting the searches by doing I limited the prices in certain situations, so I posted a bunch of really cheap items, but then I also started posting more expensive items once I got bigger account limits. And this is the main one because every item on the lists that I made is a Walmart.com item, so you don't want to sell from their marketplace sellers because none of them ship quickly, and most of them are selling Walmart items for a more expensive price in the first place. So you're basically buying from a drop shipper when you could just buy from Walmart, right? All right, so what else can I talk to you guys about bulk? And okay, sell-through rate. That's something that is really important in a lot of in like basically every eBay course I've ever taken or every book I've looked at. It's something that's important, really important, is your sell-through rate. If you want to adopt the bulk methodology, you have to completely abandon your attachment to sell-through rate. Your sell-through rate will tank, and it will tank incredibly rapidly. Like a lot of people who make good money on eBay, their sell-through rates are like 100%, 90, 80, 70 is good, right? For dropshipping, like 20 is good sometimes, right? My sell-through rate is like 0.01 or something crazy like that. I barely sell any of the listings I post, right? But the thing is, I spend an average of like, let's see, I think the most recent time I did it, and see, it gets faster as I get better at the process. It took me 45 minutes to make a list of like, let's say 5,000 items, right? Okay. And that was 5,000 actually posted. The list I made was bigger than that. So 5,000 divided by, oh no, it took 45 minutes. Let's say it took an hour divided by 5,000, right? Is that right? No, I did it wrong. 5,000 listings divided by 60 minutes. So 83 listings per minute, right? So that's more than one listing every single second. So even though, yeah, of course my sell-through rate is going to be way less, right? Like, I could post 1,000 listings in the time it takes to do one optimized listing. 1,000, you know? Theoretically, if we're using the same profit margins and all that we're counting on is getting the same amount of sale, because my time spent is 1,000th, basically, right? Is that you get what I'm saying? Like, it's a different mentality, and it's really a different style of business as well, because you have to also think you cannot do anything that's only doing it to one item. Unless it's like trimming or getting rid of or responding to violations, then you can do that. But when it comes to posting items, you have to learn to do everything 1,000 at a time, 100 at a time. You can't do anything single-handedly. You have to be able to exponentially do the task without exponentially taking more time. And that's why using these text lists works so well, right? Because this list has 15,000 items in it. 15,000, that's so much, right? But we can just do this and say we want to get rid of every occurrence of the word foldable, right? We're going to do Control F, foldable, and then Alt Enter. We now have all 10 of those, right? I could have done something huge, so it's 1,000, and then we can just get rid of them like that. It doesn't make a difference if it's one item or 1,000 items, aside from some very minor input lag, you know? And that's where the thrills and the excitement of it come in, because you can learn to do it so quickly where you have a system that it doesn't take you much time to manage the business. And that's why the reason that I'm really drawn to bulk is because I believe that while it's harder to do it because it's more stressful and you have to be a certain kind of person in order to handle it, in order to educate yourself to the point where you can do it, right? It's the best hourly rate. Like I don't put 8 hours a day into this business. I just don't. I think there may have been like 3 or 4 days. If you include YouTube work, then maybe like 5 or 6 days that I put that much time into a business. I have a very hard time sitting down and doing something for a long period of time. I often find that I can get an exponential amount of work done in 1 or 2 hours, move on to a different branch of my life, and do that as well. If I try and make it happen for 4 or 6 hours, I just can't. And I don't know if like I haven't developed enough to be able to do that, or if that's just because, I think differently. Who knows? But the bulk, I think, is really like I don't have any doubt that I can earn $40,000 to $50,000 a year in 20 hours a week, 20 hours of work or less a week. That is something that I'm very confident is achievable, and that's exciting because I want to be able to I don't want to be able to have a whole bunch of money, but I want to be able to, go out and eat dinner and not have to worry about finances as much because I'm not a frivolous spender. I make some purchases that, might be frowned upon, but I know people who I don't do things that I regret. I don't think man, why did I spend that money? I choose to spend money, and I know that it's a risk, but that's part of the way I live with my life. That's the part of the way that I live my life at the moment, I think there's something really beneficial to, you have to be able to step out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself. And I have such a hard time really challenging myself unless I put myself in situations where I have to become, I have to grow, I have to develop, you know what I mean? So it's all about a balance of knowing yourself well enough to put yourself in those situations without putting yourself in too much risk or danger, right? Because you can take that concept to a almost suicidal level, and that's not smart. But anyway, I just kind of babbled there about bulk. Hope that was somewhat informative, right? Anyway, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.